Rapunky when he joined the Four. We're back on another exciting episode of Starfleet Boy, where we have a casual and informal conversation about Star Trek. Today we're focused on Lower Deck Season 2, Episode number 2, Kayshon, His Eyes Open. And I'm joined by three fabulous panelists or guests. We have Braxton and Esri. Actually, four. Sorry, we have Braxton and Esri. We have PJ from Boatwreck, and we have Paul. So welcome, guys. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And Boo to Trek on the Tube. No, I hope he's okay, but he had to cancel last minute. But Boo to Trek on the Tube, wherever you are. I think he was offended because I said something about his hair, and so he's not happy with me now. I'm just kidding. I'm just making that part up. But yeah, Trek on Tube, we miss you. We hope you come back next week. So how's everyone doing today? What did you guys think of the episode, and who wants to do the episode summary?
Not me.
I'll give it a go.
Yay!
I'm having a solid day. No complaints. I really enjoyed the episode. I am learning to love Lower Decks. The first season, like I watched the episodes like 3 times each because like my just mind started drifting, and I would just like be on Twitter while watching it. But these first 2 episodes, I really, really liked them. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Very cool. So you couldn't you had to watch Lower Deck Season 1 like 4 times, right? Before you could really finish it. What was your like main kind of like, I guess, like
It's not
thing that held you back?
It's not serious, that's the thing that held me back. Like I'm used to my Star Trek being serious, and this isn't serious. I also don't watch Rick and Morty, though I have seen a little bit of it, and I kind of was like, oh, this is like Star Trek mixed with Rick and Morty. I'm totally not into it. But because everyone in the community is talking about it, I forced myself to watch it, and I've started to like it.
You were peer pressured into watching it, and you ended up liking it. That's cool.
Yeah.
So give us a quick summary of what happened in this episode.
Okay. So hopefully I can remember everything. I only watched it one time.
I'll help you out. I thought I was going to be distracted, but I can help you out. So go for it. Try it out.
And I watched it at the gym too.
Oh, nice. You watched it while working out?
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh, that's cool.
just doing cardio though.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Okay, so we open up with the crew meeting Jet, and then Jet and Mariner have a whose balls are biggest contest where they keep turning up the sonic shower to where it's like more intense, and then everyone runs out, and it's just those two, and they're like red.
Their noses are bleeding. It was really funny.
Their noses are bleeding. So Jet is introduced to the crew. So this week's mission is a collector has died. So Starfleet has been enlisted in searching through his artifacts. So they go to the ship. There's lots of danger. The dead collector, his image in a painting comes to life, and he's like, oh, you're seeing this because you're here plundering my things, and so I'm gonna kill you. Oh, I forgot that a Temerian was introduced.
Yes.
And he is the leader.
It's the name of the episode.
And he is the leader of the mission, though he ends up being turned into a puppet first. And so it's up to our guys to save everything. We also catch up with Boimler on Riker's ship. Bormler has an interesting mission with his crew members. It was interesting to get to see them. At the end of their mission, Bormler gets cloned, a la Thomas Riker. So there's now another Boimler.
William Boimler.
William Boimler. Mm-hmm. So teamwork is kind of the theme of the mission for the primary crew. Mariner and Jet are butting heads, and then when they're really, really in trouble, they're like, okay, what
they
what
they
do
ironically
Tendi?
they bond over making fun of the senior officers, so
Mhm.
that's like what kind of brings them together for a moment.
Yeah. And so they're like, oh, well, what does Tendi and Rutherford think? And then Tendi and Rutherford help them to, help everyone escape. And Boimler is reunited with the crew when his um, uh, doppelganger, like clone, ends up staying like on Riker's ship. He's coming back to the Cerritos. And so the crew's reunited. So it's like a happy ending. Everyone survived. And even the guy, the Temerian who was turned into a puppet, comes back to life.
We don't actually see him, but yeah, apparently in an hour he'll
Mm,
somehow
mm.
not be a puppet anymore. I don't know, like I don't know how it's gonna work, but it's very cool, very cool. Good, concise summary. Good job doing it from memory and having watched the show while you were working on it. I thought you did it excellent, even though you forgot Lieutenant Kayshon until the middle, but I do that all the time on my summary. So don't worry. Speaking of Lieutenant Kayshon, what did you guys think of Lieutenant Kayshon?
I was really happy that he didn't speak in metaphor the entire episode. It was a little bit. It was enough.
Yeah, I like that they programmed the universal translator to finally figure it out, because like in the TNG episode, like it couldn't do it, but every now and then you would have like where he was like, hold on, I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember how that goes. But yeah, and I wrote down one of the lines. My favorite my favorite one was, what does she say? Oh, Mariner says to Jet, more like suck up from Tanagra, and that was really funny. Um, yeah,
I like that Kayshon was kind of a skis at the end there. Like they added that little twist where he's hitting on the woman in the bar and she's not having any of it. I like that kind of little detail you wouldn't usually get in a Star Trek Starfleet officer,
Oh yeah, that's right. I totally forgot about that bar scene.
Didn't Geordi hit on women and they weren't receptive to it with some frequency?
Yeah, you're right. And what Kirk did that all the time. So don't listen to me.
Kirk was super successful, even though he was looking, by today's sensibilities, he's cringy, but poor Geordi, I really felt bad for him. Like I thought like Geordi was just like trying really hard just to be a nice guy, and people for some reason didn't vibe with him. But alas.
But that's the thing about being a dude. You come on to people and like half the people that aren't interested.
Is that a dude specific thing? Yeah, I guess kind of. Maybe that's changing. But yeah, I guess that is the thing. I have such a fear of it's too personal, but I'll just say it anyway since I started. I have such a fear of like being rejected that I've never asked anyone else. All my boyfriends have always asked me out. Isn't that crazy? Maybe one day.
I find that it helps. I find that it just helps just to be forward and just like say what you want. And and sometimes people aren't interested, and it just is what it is. But like you got to play the game.
I love that we talked about that for just a second. Well, more on Starfleet Boy after dark. PJ, what did you think of Lieutenant Kayshon?
He was okay right up until the end. That joke was very Shaka when the walls fell. It didn't land. And it was like giving him a shitty trait at the end that I didn't quite appreciate. And, it's a 90s joke. It's dated now. Like, it's just such an old... You've been running through my mind all day. Like, fuck off. Like, that's what I thought at the end. And it really kind of, like, put a dampener on the episode, which I wasn't all that into anyway in the first 2 episodes of the season. Aren't really doing it for me. And I'm sure there's, like, an episode that I'll love just right around the corner because I do like the show. But, yeah, this... it was nice that he saved what was it, Tendi from the
from the blast. Yeah, he took
when Fajo's hologram. There was a funny part where he's like,
By the way, that wasn't
just like
Fajo.
That's a Jurassic Park reference, right?
Yeah, I think so. But that was not Fajo though, right? That was
it was Fajo. I think it was Fajo with a different name. Yeah. Or at least it was the same species.
Yeah, he looked like the same species, but I didn't realize.
But they say that Fajo. He tried to kidnap Data one time, and then the counselor's like, "Oh, why don't they leave Data alone? He just wanted to feel." And
Well,
They said
that's
that
what
the
you,
Collectors Guild tried to kidnap Data,
Yeah,
not
Mig-
him specifically.
okay, I
But-
thought it was
Well-
Faggio. I don't know why. I just assumed it was him.
I
I
think
just
Miglet.
assumed that it was Faggio in like disguise, since he's kind of a fugitive from the
Oh, true.
Federation. So
True.
that was my read on it. But
Mm.
he just looked
He-
too much like him.
Yeah.
I know they didn't use Rubinik's voice, the guy who played him. Well, there was
Yeah.
two people who played him originally, but one of the actors, the first actor, died. But
Yes.
you know that story, right? About the original Faggio?
Yeah, who was we actually talked about it. You might have been on that episode of Starfleet
And
Boy.
anyway,
when we
that's not
reviewed it.
I
but-
suppose it's not relevant to this conversation, but I don't know. I'm really getting a little tired of Mariner always just being rude and objectionable. I like Jet, and then I was like really sad when he kind of walked away from them, and I thought like one of the guys, "Oh no, pull up a chair, like stay with us. You're gonna be
Yeah, it
part
was
of the
very
group
weird.
now." And then he just rolls his eyes as he's walking away. I was like, "Oh, that's
It was
shitty."
sad.
And then
I was sad
immediately
for
they
Jet,
tell
too.
Boimler like, "Do do what we say," type of thing. And I don't know. I did find it interesting that he has a transporter clone who seems more interesting than the actual Boimler now, and I don't think we're ever going to see that. Maybe later, but I'm like really wondering what this new Boimler is going to be like on the Titan. And there's a nice joke. I'm just trying to think of the positives. There's a nice joke where they're like, "Will we ever see him again?" It's like, yeah, his clone is here. We'll see him every day.
We'll see him every
It's
day.
like-
Yeah, it's
but
true. I guess we should go straight to that reveal. So everyone was wondering how the heck Boimler was going to be, how they were going to get Boimler to be back on the Cerritos and reunited with the lower deckers, because we all knew it was going to happen. He wasn't going to stay on the Titan. I never would have guessed that they were going to pull the transporter clone gag. I should have guessed. It was like the Rutherford even's like, that's such a Boimler thing. And like earlier in the episode, he's talking about like, well, I guess just before he does the thing, he was talking about the clone of, or the duplicate of Riker and Thomas Riker and stuff like that. But what did you guys think? How did that land for you? What were you expecting versus how do you feel about how they like turned it out?
So I liked it. I totally was not expecting it. I'm similar to you. I was like, ooh, like look at Bormler working it out. He's like, ooh, yeah, like I'm gonna like bring down the distortion field, and like this like thing's gonna happen, and we're gonna like get out of here. So yeah, I was totally surprised by it, but I did like it, and hopefully we get to catch back up with William Bormler later. I feel like something really good is gonna happen with William Bormler.
I think the opposite. If they ever show him again, it might be like they might kill him off or do something really terrible to him.
I could totally see that.
He's kind of like he is different from Bradward. He's definitely less nervous. Like he was willing to like have Romulan ale. Like he and Riker seem to be getting along swimmingly, whereas Boimler was just always nervous and
He's
like
confident Boimler. It's like
he's confident. Boimler.
it's like when Thomas Riker is kind of like a somewhat douchier version of regular Riker. It's working the opposite way, where he's instead of cowardly Boimler, he's a more I don't know if it's a play on that episode of TOS where like the two Kirks. One's like
I think there was a nod to that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
I really appreciated that second chances we get this kind of like downtrodden duplicate Riker, and our Riker is like the Riker who's successful, and we continue to follow that one. And with this episode now, we get to follow the like loser version that that has to get busted back down to ensign because there can't be two Lieutenant JG. So I assume that William Boimler will recur at some point and be like the cool, like part of the Titan crew, talking like they're in an action movie kind of thing.
Yeah, totally. I think there is going to be more, and there's going to be gags like in the ready room sequence in this episode. They mentioned that they think that someone else is behind the Pakleds, and so I'm wondering if like I wonder who's pulling the strings, and is it going to be the Romulans? Like are we gonna or Klingons maybe? That could be, or it could be any number of different species or adversaries, I should say. So I'm very curious to see.
Do you think
what's
there's a
gonna happen with
serialized? There will be a serialized thread with the Pakleds, and this will be like a kind of mystery box for the season. It'll still be episodic, but they may keep returning to that.
Yeah, I have a feeling. I mean, they put the Pakled ships in the opening credits, like, so I feel like unless the next episode's credits change, like, which they might do, I don't know, but yeah, I feel like there's definitely something going on with the Pakleds. I think people like responded so well to the Pakleds being a new bad guy that maybe that's something that they decided to go with for this season. What do you guys think?
I think Mike McMahon straight up said that they were going to have a through line with the Pakleds, and that they would continue to do, the standalone episodes for the lower deckers.
Oh, cool. I read so much that I don't remember that, but it sounds familiar. So yeah. I do think so too. What do you guys think of the Pakleds, like, in general? Like, what has, like, I thought they were like stupid on TNG, and now I like them. Like, it's kind of
there are two kind of amusing jokes. One's the second one is really good, but the first one is they're stealing our candy. I don't know why that was like kind of amusing.
They look like cheese puffs.
The one that I actually kind of laughed at was when they try to use the rotator saw as a battering ram instead of like what it's supposed to be used for. But yeah, I find I don't know what you guys think, but do you think they're just like doing too many? They're just like so. It's like they need a reference and Easter egg quota. It's like, guys, we gotta think about this episode. There's only like 200 references in this one. We need at least 500. I mean, because I appreciate it on some level, but like I don't want it to always in every episode have 50 mentions of what happened in TNG or this. Like this other Star Trek thing and this other Star Trek thing. And that's part of what Lower Decks is. I get it, but this episode, it's like, it would be fun to look back and see everything. Like you have the VR things from TNG that hypnotize everybody. I forget the name. And the game from the episode The Game.
Game.
Oh, yeah, they had that. Yeah, the little visor, yeah.
And you have that, the first the first Troy's mother episode. I can't see her name right now. Loaxana. They have that box with the face on it. That's like the invitation thing.
Oh yeah. Wow, you caught a lot more than I did. That's crazy.
And you get giant
Spock
skeleton and all this. And on one level, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, but I don't want the show to end up like just depending on constant reference. I would like it actually to maybe, and they've done a little bit of it, to go one episode without having to reference anything from any previous TV show or episode, just to see, like, will that work? I don't know. It's sometimes I think they go a little too far with it. It's not like a huge complaint. I'm not saying like damn them for doing that, but I don't know.
I feel like
it's just like, oh look, here they mentioned Data. Oh look, they mentioned the Enterprise D. Oh look, they mentioned this is from this episode and this is from that episode, and it's like it's a fun game for a lot of people, but for me it's like let's more story, more character development, less. Don't have 20% of your script just be references. That's all I mean.
I think Lower Decks has done an incredible job developing distinct characters with clear personalities, even if you might not, love Mariner. I love Mariner, but I can see why you wouldn't like her. I think Lower Decks has done a great job developing its characters and shoving jokes and references anywhere they can. I mean, I don't want to immediately jump onto Discovery, but like look at the character development in that show. It's very sketchy for most of the characters, and in Lower Decks, you can easily, I mean, like I can't really tell you that much about Michael Burnham after 3 seasons, but I can tell you a whole hell of a lot about Mariner, and I think that's a credit to the writing. So I don't have a problem with the Easter eggs.
Dude, I can tell you everything about Michael Burnham after. So PJ, I'm in the.
I don't
camp.
dislike Mariner, by the way.
Like-
I do find Mariner and Boimler slightly annoying. Not all the time. I do. There's episodes in season 1 where I just love their characters altogether, but yeah, it's like I kind of like Rutherford and Tendi a little bit more. And in this episode, it kind of frustrated me that they had the good idea at the beginning. I know it's played for laughs, but it's like, come on, work as a team better. And I don't like that they're just quiet and they don't want to speak up and they're not assertive. I want Tendi and Rutherford to be more like, hey guys, what about this? And it's like, they're kind of like, well, we didn't want to say anything because you guys are in charge, but you're a team, guys. You're all Lower Decks. You're all a team, work together and all this. But yeah, I think Mariner is getting to a point where hopefully in this season she's going to get to a point where she actually begins to work more as a team and is less confrontational and less she's rude. I mean, Tawny Newsome admitted herself, like, the character as much good as she does, she'll turn around and like deflate that by just saying something completely obnoxious.
Right, she shoots herself in the foot a lot.
Shoots herself in the foot. Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that she had that moment where she was like, we got to do this crazy plan, and then Jet is like, he's like, well, no, there's this like safer plan, and then she's asking Tendi and Rutherford like, and they're like, well, we kind of want to live, and like we kind of want to do the safer plan, and Jet even mentions like, something we hear a lot in Star Trek, not a lot, but I feel like it's heard more than once, where it's like, trust your training, and it'll get you through the day. And in general, I think that's a military type of attitude of trust your training and train.
Do you guys like Jet?
I like him. I liked him
from
from
a lot more of Jet.
I liked him from season 1, and I loved him going head to head with Mariner in this episode. But I also did think it was awkward at the end. Like, I didn't think that was that seemed out of character for me, for him to be just kind of like rejected like that. I mean, I don't know. I get they were like super excited to see Boimler, but you're right. Like, there's plenty of chairs in the lounge. Like, they could have just said, pull up a chair, or Boims could have just pulled up a chair. So that was a little interesting. But it is kind of also like, it's a bit Mean Girls, but it's kind of like also like, now we have our, our gang from season 1, the 4, these 4 misfits back together. And so, it was nice to see that little ending. Braxton, what were you going to say about, you had some kind of like a point to make about Burnham or something?
Oh yeah, no, we don't need to go back.
Okay.
but just to say, like, who her parents are, like, like who like raised her, like what her motivations are, and like.
No, I know about her. I just don't know that much, like what drives this character, what her like.
Because she's always trying to be perfect. Like, she was.
That's not
it. She said, "Oh, let my faith in you sustain you." Like, oh my god!
I love that you know that line, and that you read it like you said it like that. You're like, "Oh, let my faith in you sustain you." We'll have to do a Mariner versus Burnham discussion at some point along the way, and see, or maybe just compare all the main lower deckers from the different shows and stuff like that. Cool.
But I was also going to say that, PJ, it's like opposite day, dude. Like, I think that Mariner is like one of the so I really like the captain. I really like Mariner. I really like the cat doctor. I don't really care that much for Boimler and Tendi and Rutherford. I love Mariner. I love a character who takes the situation like by the balls and just like makes a call and just like does it. Like, I enjoy that kind of character. Like the fly by the seat of their pants type of character. I really like that.
Yeah, I love Mariner too. Can I just say, going back to Jet though, I just want to like commend the retcon of Lieutenant. I don't remember his last name, but he's Lieutenant in season 1, and then
Mm.
he's an ensign in this latest episode, and he attributes the extra rank pip to a piece of corn
Piece
that
of
was.
corn.
I didn't even realize that
They're like, oh,
he was
dude,
lieutenant
he
in
ranked
season
up.
1. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that's really funny. Yeah, the street corn gag was really funny, and I was craving. Now I'm craving street corn, and I'm like, ah, why did you talk about street corn? We have a couple. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say people don't eat street corn where I'm from. So like I saw the street corn and I was like, oh, like that's interesting.
So
'Cause I
wait,
don't really know
Baltimore
about
doesn't have street corn or like hot
People,
dogs?
it's not a mid-Atlantic thing. Like
Really?
people don't eat street corn. Like
I don't
you
even
know,
know
if you
what
go
street
to, like,
corn is. I don't.
if you go to a festival, there's no street corn. You know, like yeah,
That's
there's no
crazy.
street corn here.
Miami has street everything. If you drive around town, there's like just like about and there's always a barbecue on the weekend that you could like pull up to, and they've got everything from like lobster to street corn. But
A ton of
Someone-
COVID.
a
someone
ton,
tried
of,
to
a ton of what? Cocaine? Yes.
I said
COVID.
COVID.
Oh, COVID. Yes. We have both. We have a ton of cocaine and a ton of COVID. It's true.
If someone
Yeah,
was
I-
on the if someone
oh,
was
go
on the
ahead.
street here trying to sell street corn, people would think they were crazy. You'd be like, "What? Why? Why are you selling corn on the street?"
Maybe there's a
I never
correlation.
I never even knew it was a thing.
There might be a correlation. Street corn seems to be big in Texas, and so the two highest COVID rates, it's that street corn. It's making people crazy. It's making us go out there and expose ourselves. It's crazy.
You know, I did love like the butting of heads between Mariner and Jet. I thought that was really cool. And at the end, like when the group of friends like welcomed Mariner back or welcomed Boimler back, and Jet like was like, you know, was like kind of cast off.
Excommunicated.
You know, I didn't necessarily like think that was like necessarily about the rejection of Jet. It's just that, oh my gosh, like our boy is back. Like 100% of our attention and focus is on him, and we've turned our back against you. It's not because we don't like you. It's just because we're so happy to see him. So maybe that's it. You know, it's not necessarily Mean Girls. It's like, oh, like our boy is back. Like let's like, you know, show him love and then like make him get us stuff.
I just want to highlight you on the screen because Ezri's angle is very interesting. It's like he's just popping in from the side there.
He is on a 36-inch cat scratcher, and so he's kind of like looking down.
What did you guys think of the Titan crew and the adventures on the Titan? Like, did it? I guess we've all been waiting for this, and did it? For me personally, I enjoyed it. I kind of I don't know if I want a whole Titan like based show, but definitely like a mini series or something in live action. Like I would like to see, or like a different kind of animation and a more serious, like not a comedy. Basically, I would love to see it with these same characters. I thought they were all interesting. What did you guys think?
I would
think-
I would have wanted a Titans spin-off until I saw this episode. Because his crew are a bunch of douchebags. Like they're so unlikable. There's no attempt to make any of these guys likable. They're just making fun of the Enterprise D. And I was like, Boimler, I'm like, wait a second, those guys like are the shit. Those guys are legends. You little shits don't know what you're fucking talking about. But anyway, that's all I have to say about that.
That to me, like, yeah, you're right. That like kind of like made me sad because but I thought it was like kind of also fair because it's true. Like when you look, if you just look at the Enterprise D,
Making
like,
fun of their string quartets. I mean, like, I love the art. I love the attempt at like,
Me too,
like,
and the
putting on
symposiums.
stage plays and like, concerts and people playing real instruments and like stuff like that. That was one of the most beautiful things about the Enterprise D.
it's true. I agree. I love the Enterprise D. Don't get me wrong, but I could understand how other like these guys are like constantly in battle, and they're like doing a whole different type of mission. So
They're such
it
dude
feels
bros,
like
though, aren't they? Like
They
they're always
are.
just these dude bros.
they are bros. It's true.
Yeah, what happened to Deanna Troy? Where'd
Yeah,
she
so-
disappear to?
She has a little baby at this point, so she's probably.
That's not very
on-
24th century. I don't think I like that.
Yeah.
No, I mean she's probably taking time off to have like spend time with her baby. What's wrong with that?
Like bonding time, you mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like maternity leave. Yeah, that's a little. I don't know.
Mat leave is
You
I
don't
think
believe in
that-
maternity leave in the 24th century?
No, I totally.
No, I just think she should just like have the kid on the bridge with her or something. I don't know. Thaddeus, right?
It would
It
be
is
Thaddeus, yeah.
It would be
Oh,
Thaddeus.
that's
and
sad now that I
that's
think
sad.
about it.
Yeah, it's super
Yeah.
sad.
Mhm.
Shit.
But going back to Paul, your thoughts on the Titan crew and like the adventures and stuff like that.
Well, one, not just Deanna was missing, but like the entire bridge crew was changed between last season and this season, so that was a little bit strange to me. But I like the kind of like I said, the action movie talk among the crew, and I really appreciated this like moment where Boimler makes them realize why they joined Starfleet to begin with. But yeah, I'm with you. I would love to see a mini series or something based on the Titan crew doing their like action adventure stories that are. I mean, I would be fine if it was like a Lower Decks-esque show, But I really expect to see more.
Mhm.
They're gonna like have to figure out like who's behind the Packlids.
Dude, they're totally gonna get an episode.
Yeah, yeah. Especially since Boimler's still there, they're gonna keep. I expect them to keep cutting back to the
God.
Titan.
Wouldn't it
What
be
happened?
wonderful if there was just an entire episode just Titan stuff? Because the second Boimler is there, so it would still have a Lower Decks cast member, but like no Cerritos whatsoever, or maybe one of those things like they did in Discovery Season 3 with Burnham, and not have the Cerritos until the very end when there's a conflict and they both have to deal with it. I
Yeah.
hope, I'm pretty sure, like, I know I was complaining about these, like how it's not a great start for me personally, but like I said, I think it's one of these shows, like in the first season, you look at those episodes in the first half, and then you get into the second half, and it's just like a whole different ballgame. I think that's what they may do in season 2, where it's, episodic silliness, a lot of goofiness, and then what they do well, especially in the last 2 episodes of season 1, is they had this brilliant balance of comedy and like serious drama and stakes, which they don't have in every episode. It's usually goofy stuff that makes like really not a lot of sense. But I think it will get to that point in season 2, hopefully with the Packlids and the Titan. If they don't revisit all that stuff, I don't know, man. I don't know.
They will. They will.
Yeah.
I think that we're totally gonna get an episode, like of Riker's crew. Totally. I really enjoyed the character who reminds me of Nebula. The female
yeah.
character.
Oh yeah.
We don't get a
okay.
name. We don't get a name or anything. Like she's the first officer, right? Like, and that's kind of all we know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was cool. That's one of the reasons. Just the idea of seeing those guys. I know that there's a wealth of material that they can mine from the novels. There's been a ton of like novels based on the Titan. So now I'm curious. Like, I'm kind of like, oh, maybe I should read some of those. And
But they're
see
not.
Oh, what's that?
But they're not. Like the command crew is totally different in the novels. Like
Oh.
Tuvok is I don't remember which position he's in, but like
Tuvok's on the Titan?
Yeah, I think he's either the first officer or the maybe he's still a tactical, and like Wesley Crusher's on the Titan. And,
What?
yeah.
Okay.
I
didn't realize.
love the way the Titan is portrayed in the Destiny trilogy.
I don't know.
Have you ever read that one?
No, I haven't read that one.
The David Tuvok is there, and I think Wesley's there too. I can't remember.
That's
everybody.
what. Did you not hear Paul? That's just Paul.
No, I know, but I'm
Oh,
saying
okay.
he's talking about a different. He's not talking about the David Mack trilogy.
Oh,
right?
okay.
I'm just saying, like maybe that book continuity carries over from different things. Like I know they keep some of it, like the Trek beta canon has its own universe, doesn't it? Like to a certain extent, like if you're dealing with a Titan, if one author is dealing with a Titan, and then another novel is, they kind of like coincide. Now it's different because of Picard and stuff. Because now like in the extended universe, Worf is the captain of the Enterprise. Riker's retired, all that stuff. But
I've limited
around this time, the novel said around this time, usually have a much better crew or interesting crew on the Titan. But I know why they can't have those same crew. They need to kind of like make up these characters that don't really connect to anything, which is fine. But I would, if they did do a spin-off of Titans, I don't want to see the Lower Decks version now. I want to see a serious kind of like that American anime style, like hardcore fucking action stuff.
Interestingly, if any of y'all are watching What If, the 2 episodes dealt with collectors, so that was pretty weird that both series had collectors going on in them. Fathery says TNG is kind of lame sometimes, though. I love the show, but don't mind it being taken down a peg, considering how I feel it is a little overrated in the fandom these days.
Traitor.
TS9 and TOS are better than TNG.
I
agree with that.
Yeah,
I disagree with Fathery. I don't think that TOS is better than TNG. I love TNG.
TNG is one of those shows that I love certain episodes, but when you rewatch it, it's not a great binge show because you will always get a lot of those duds that you kind of like, but you're like, I've seen this 100 times, and it's a mediocre episode, and it becomes like a kind of boring episode. Like, I don't like The Most Toys, the one where Data is kidnapped. I find that it's one of the TNG episodes that people seem to like, but I remember watching it in reruns, and I would always like kind of like, I'm not watching this one because I don't like it at all. Yeah, I forget what I was going to say next, but go ahead. TNG is what I was going to say. I meant to say. I meant to say. I'm sorry. I meant to say that. I recently rediscovered TOS again. TOS and TNG are now like almost on the same level, but DS9 is like the best. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say the Titan crew who are dissing the Enterprise D are supposed to be wrong. They are wrong. That's
yeah. But they were also and I guess if you could say that it kind of shows like that they've been kind of out of exploration for so long that they've lost sight of like the joys of that, and like it's punctuated when Boimler makes his like awesome speech about why he joined Starfleet and like why the D is actually awesome, and then even the they all kind of like acquiesce. And I like that the first officer's like, what was it? I joined Starfleet to study moss. Like, how amazing is that like that's what she joined for? But unfortunately, and it kind of is painting a landscape of like that maybe Starfleet's resources are being allocated more and more towards peacekeeping or defense. And so exploration's taking a back seat, much like the world is today, where we seem to, not favor exploration of space and things like that. Like,
and that's why a Titan show could be good, because nobody would have an excuse to complain about, oh, well, this is too action-packed. If you're going to do like I call it American anime style action-packed kind of Star Trek show that has the Titan just like go on these crazy adventures, less exploratory and like diplomacy and all that, that would be a nice departure from like the regular exploratory Trek, because Riker, as he's portrayed in Lower Decks, is fucking crazy, dude. Like, he just like runs head. I didn't realize he would be so like head first into danger as a captain. And yes, that's kind of played for laughs in the show, but you could really do something with that in a serious context, where like Riker becomes like the feared captain that you do not fuck with, even more than Picard or Benjamin Sisko or Kirk or Janeway. Like, he's the ultimate badass.
It would just be nice to fill in that gap, because we do see Riker retired, and living on Nepenthe. So it'd be nice to like kind of fill in that gap. I'm actually very interested in that story, but it is a shame to hear that the Titan novels I think it's great that the team are doing their own thing, and I like the way that they did the crew and everything like that. But it would have been neat to see Tuvok. Like they could have just included Tuvok
Yeah.
on the bridge. It would have been cool. Even if I'm sure Tim Russ would have come back and done a voice. So that would have been a nice nod to people who enjoy the novels. But also, it's again, I don't know the time frames or anything like that. So who knows? It is one of the reasons why I stay away. Like one of my reasons for not reading too many of the novels is that oftentimes this happens where you get really invested into these storylines and these things, and then when a show then decides to like bring that onto the screen, you kind of feel like if you're all about canon type stuff, then you kind of feel like, oh yeah, all those stories I invested all that time in are kind of like a second alternate reality or whatever. So I can see how people get disappointed, but I would love to see, so I typically I limit myself to adaptations of stories that were already done, like the movie adaptations, or there's been a couple times where they'll flesh out an episode or like a storyline in novels. So I usually will enjoy those a lot more.
I think that Tuvok is really due for a comeback.
For sure.
I mean, I'm maybe the only person who wants Tuvok. I love Tuvok, and I want him. I really was sad that he wasn't on the Titan.
Yeah, now that I know he served, that's a bummer. And they could have totally gotten Will Wheaton too, so it's weird. I don't know. Maybe they'll surprise us and fill in a gap, or explain it, and maybe they were just off on a side mission or something like that.
Well, there's another thing here before I'll let you move on. I'm sorry to occupy the.
No, please. Yeah.
Over the summer, I think her name is Lycia Naff or something like that, who played Sonia Gomez on TNG in 2 episodes. She gave an interview in which she said that Sonia Gomez was coming back, and I'm almost certain that she is the chief engineer of the Titan in at least one of the novels or a couple of the novels. So maybe, hopefully, she wasn't lying or she wasn't misquoted, and I expect her to, show up.
Interesting.
Did she show up in the Borg episode?
She was in the first Borg episode, and then I think she's in the Samaritan Snares as well. Yeah.
I have a theory about how she may appear.
Where is she going to be the one behind the? Did we lose?
I don't know if there's some future episode in Lower Decks that involves time travel or a holodeck thing where the crew seems to be reliving classic Trek moments. And I don't want to say too much, but one of them seems to be best of both worlds. Seems to be, because there is Borg stuff, there is Enterprise D stuff, which I'm not, I don't know if you saw what's coming up, but
was that in that little teaser? That little teaser that they gave?
The teaser that they play this season.
Yeah.
And it's very quick. They only show images, and it's one of those things where you can't tell if anything's holodeck fantasy. They don't give you any kind of clear idea, but you do see what seems to be a revisiting somehow of at least 2 classic Trek things, one involving TNG and one involving the TOS movies. But I think if you did have that, you would obviously have the characters from that episode pop up, and Sonia Gomez would be probably one of them. Maybe LeVar Burton and maybe the whole TNG crew. I don't know. I'm just pulling stuff out of my ass. But
are you telling me I'm going to get my TNG? I know she's going to be.
That is confirmed that she's going to be there.
Are you telling me I'm going to get my TNG reunion on Lower Decks before I get it on Picard? Is that what's going to happen?
That's such wishful thinking. I don't even know if I'd put any money on that. So. Wishful
that would
thinking.
Be really interesting. What did you guys think of Captain Freeman in this episode, where she's working on trying to be less micromanaging, and what did you think of all that stuff?
Dude, I can't wait till she gets her review. I can't wait. I heard the because they said that she was we're going to the collector ship, and then I'm gonna get my review, and I was just waiting for the Admiral or something to come and come to the ship to like talk to her about her review.
It's gonna be her husband, basically, I guess, because she reports to her husband. So
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
PJ or
I
Paul?
like the captain. I feel like the captain is probably like just like her daughter in energy and spirit, and like they bump heads so much because like the daughter is just like her mom. You know, I like the captain. I think she's really cool.
Freeman's an awesome captain for sure. Like, I really liked last episode when she's like, "Full stop, Mister. This is my ship," and stuff like that. By the way, I've shout out to Dawn Lewis. She's so awesome. Like, she definitely changes her voice. Like, they all do. They all have like a different kind of voice. Like, Jerry O'Connell's voice sounds different from his real life voice, and Dawn Lewis, and just also just an unsolicited promo. A Different World is now on HBO Max, and I used to watch that show weekly with my family,
Mm-hmm.
and so watching it again is like not only just like satisfying, like that nostalgia fix that some of us enjoy, but like I'm also like now seeing it as an adult, and it reads totally different. Like I miss so many of the like
It's a very smart
stories
show.
and stuff
It's one
like
of the
that.
smartest
Yeah,
shows
it's extremely
in the 90s.
smart show. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's there. So if anyone if you've never seen A Different World, and you want to see Dawn Lewis when she was younger, go check it out. She actually kind of still looks the same.
Her story arc in that show is great, and it's a sitcom that actually has like a degree of serialization. Like characters evolve and change, and and like they did that in other sitcoms, but like they do it really well. It does meander toward the end, like it gets kind of like really shoddy toward the end. But the first season not so great, but seasons 2 to like I think 6 or 7 or whatever it was are pretty good. Dwayne Wayne, one of my favorite characters growing up. I used to always relate to him because he was like he's always trying to,
To Mac.
he always had
and he...
but that show's great. The unfortunate thing is it was taped and not filmed, so it's not remastered. So I'm watching Family Matters right now, and it's remastered, and it like looks fucking amazing. And but A Different World is like all blurry on your big screen.
I guess
still a
that's
good
why I
show.
watch it on
I
my
highly
little screen.
recommend.
But it's really cool.
For
Sorry,
people
we
who
went on
can't
that
watch
tangent.
the Cosby Show anymore, that's the saving grace. Is the spinoff.
What episode in season 1 did we see that collector's room before? It was later season. Picard's painting and the Lurpa were in the same spots. I think it was. You're thinking of The Most Toys, which was season 3.
It was season 3,
Yeah.
episode 22.
Oh wow!
Picard's
There you-
painting is from A Matter of Perspective, I believe, where Data, he's painting the nude model, and Data has some, nice criticisms for him. Anyway,
That's right.
so it's a
That's-
really deep cut, but it's good.
That's right. That is, I remember that episode, and we're coming up to the hour. So, anything else that stood out that you guys want to talk about?
I appreciated that Riker's ready room was decorated with a Civil War hat from Colonel
Oh, that's-
Thaddeus Riker, and he had vinyl records on the wall. I like that. That's cute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
Oh, that is cool. PJ?
It was okay to watch. I like getting up and watching a new episode of Lower Decks. And I don't know, my expectations are too high. Also, the novelty of it has worn off a bit of the, quirky animated Star Trek show. But, it's not a bad sign in my mind that I find these first 2 episodes meh. Because I compare them to the early episodes of season 1, which I was a little bit more excited for, just because it was new. But like, it seems a little too familiar and all the references and all that stuff. But I just know it's gonna get better for me. I can't imagine the brilliant creative team who are behind Lower Decks are going to deliver a subpar season. So I want to make it clear that I'm not foreshadowing gloom and doom here. It's just sometimes things don't work for you, man. That's all you can do about it.
Do you think it was I think Stress Free K mentioned earlier about there was like on both scenarios, both plots this episode had like really intense like situations and like a lot
The
of
stakes were high.
Yeah, the stakes were high in both plots. Do you think that like maybe that was a little too much for you, like where it was just constantly like you're going back and forth from action to action, or did you like that?
The stakes were too high for PJ.
For PJ?
I don't know. I just like the reasons I said. I just don't. I'm not as excited as I used to be, and I think I'll be. I know this is not fair, but I want the big episodes that were in the second half of the first
You want it
season
to start
more,
out like that.
and I'm just kind of like waiting for it now. And I know for a fact that if I had all of these episodes at once, and I was like going through them, I'd be like, okay, oh now it's good, oh now it's great, now it's fucking awesome. I think that would be the progression of it if I watched them all at once. And just watching them weekly, I'm just hoping it gets better and better for me. And I totally understand why people love this episode, and I mean, some people are saying like it's one of the best ones. A couple of people who don't like the show all that much are like loving this episode. So like, yeah,
this is definitely
to each
my
their own.
favorite episode of season 2 so far, and I would rank it pretty high personally among season 1. We didn't talk too much about like I know that I see what you mean about like how too many Easter eggs can get like Jill here also agrees and says I agree with PJ about the references. They're actually getting tiresome, and that's what they really are, references and Easter eggs. But some of the gags are just funny. Like in the animated series, like like you have this gigantic Spock, and I think I didn't remember what happened, but I think Trek on the Tube was telling me he stays behind to on the planet, and so now we know his fate. He died. Like this, this collector. Was like,
Well, maybe the collector didn't kill him. I mean,
no, I'm sure. Or who
everything
knows,
dies.
Yeah.
Like,
it looked like he was dead. Like his corpse was rotting somewhere, and that like because the uniform was all torn and like and stuff like that. So you imagine like kind of like a Gulliver's Travel like like type of situation, and like maybe so the collector scooped him up or whatever, and I just thought that made for funny stuff. But it was actually, to me, I do think that for me, like there might have been too much like intensity going on at some times, but overall I enjoyed this episode a lot. It is my favorite so far. There were only 2 episodes in, but yeah, I really liked all
I think the next one
in
you're
it.
going to be like, this is my favorite. And then the
Yeah,
next
it's
one,
gonna be
this
like
is my
that. This is my favorite one so far. It's true. It's totally gonna be that way for me.
Nobody
but-
mentioned the flying Roombas. The flying Roombas were like my like 3rd favorite thing about this episode.
that they did look like flying Roombas. It's true. That's funny.
Oh my god, they're gonna suck you to death. Like, oh no.
And we didn't talk about Kalis's fornication.
sex helmet,
Yeah.
fornication helmet, and Tendy's like, safety first.
You know what's great about this episode, by the way, which we didn't talk about, is the fact that Tendi and Rutherford weren't on a side story. Everybody was together, other than Boimler. But they need. That was like most of season 1. They were always together doing things separate from the main story, and so it was nice to have them all together.
Totally.
I hope
they should speak up more.
They should. I hope they make a Lieutenant Kayshon puppet, because it's a delightful thing that I want.
Do you think they had him change? They could have changed him into like a statue, or like preserved which would have actually made more sense than a puppet, because like what is that worth? But they they make a joke about, oh, that's going to be worth so much. But do you think they did it because they want to sell that puppet?
I hope
I think
they do,
did it because it's funny.
and it's funny.
Well, I don't know if it's funny, but I think they want to sell some puppets.
I hope they do manufacture it, because I want to have a puppet show with my godchild where I'm like saying all the metaphor stuff from like Shaka when the walls fell, and it'll drive his parents nuts because he'll be saying all these things that are from that episode from what is it called?
Jill has a good comment.
What is it? The one about agreeing with you? Oh, here we go. The puppet can not hold a candle to the Geordie bear. Yeah, that's true. The Geordie bear. That was something that was a reference to an actual Geordie bears existed before Lord X, right? Or did they make that up? I feel like I've seen Geordie bears before, but maybe
do they sell Geordie bears?
We're gonna have to go look this stuff
because if
up.
they don't, then I'm wrong about my other theory. Then because they're not jumping onto these marketing things.
I mean, Star Trek's always been really terrible about getting.
Yeah, that actually is true.
Like, I was actually really impressed that they got the Tom Paris collector's plate out. Even before the episode airs, usually it's like years later you'll get an item like that. So
there is a Badgie plushie, isn't there? No.
Oh, if there is, I need that. I don't know. I have to go look.
I figured they'd be on the ball with this stuff, but I don't really buy merch.
I'm really bad about it.
I can't afford to buy the merch.
I'm glad I don't know about it because I probably would have bought the Geordie bear and the Badgie plushie if I did know about it. So now I'm gonna go look it up and I'll probably end up buying it. Yikes! There goes
you're
the
gonna
bank.
buy it if it's there.
I probably will, but definitely gonna buy the Lieutenant Kayshon puppet because I think that's just like one of the most delightful little.
You should
gags.
tweet at Mike McMahon and just ask him: is there going to be a probably say like, "Oh my God, we never thought of that. That's a great idea, Starfleet boy. You get 10%."
No, it doesn't work that way. But no, I wish it did though. But it definitely doesn't work that way. Mike McMahon's been teasing about a new version of the Spock helmet, like he has a prototype, or he has like someone gifted, like a manufacturer, I think Star Trek Unlimited, or something like, made it for him. So I have a feeling that could come back, which would be awesome because that's like one of those items that the original one is too small for adult head, so maybe they can make one that adults can wear, so that would be really, really cool. Must have Geordie bear. Jimmy Dean's here and says Lower Decks feels like old Trek. Prodigy I couldn't say
Prodigy feels like new Trek.
New Trek. Interesting.
Is Prodigy on? No,
not yet.
Okay. I don't know how you know how it feels yet, but
Lower Decks, yeah, maybe Jimmy Dean's from the future.
I think they may be referring to the visual of the ship itself. The kind of Kelvin-y influenced design, but
I love the ship shots of this Cerritos. I think it's like so beautiful. Like, they'll like show up with like, flying and like the stars are like going by. I think the animation just looks so good.
She's grown on, the Cerritos has grown on me for sure. I don't think I liked her at first, but she's definitely a handsome lady. Now I appreciate her. I still don't understand why she's built the way she is. Like I sometimes I do like the I like to get the kind of like I like to understand the reasoning behind it, but I'm thinking that we'll find out why she has such long, I don't know. It's an interesting ship though. It definitely looks like a kit bash.
Does it have long nacelles?
Yes, she has long nacelles. She does. Maybe the Cerritos is a he. I don't know. Any other final thoughts? And we like to give ratings on the show. I'm gonna give this episode a 9, another 9. It's a solid 9. Well, the solid would be around 7, but this is a 9. It's another fun episode that I really enjoyed, and I look forward to the next one. Braxton, take it away with your rating.
Dude, I'm gonna give it a 10.
Yeah.
So this was my favorite episode of Lower Decks in this, through the whole show.
Oh wow! Even more than the Vindicta episode from last season or the finale of last season. Those two last episodes.
Dude, I was on Twitter like all of Lower Decks season 1. I feel like I barely noticed anything. This was my favorite episode. I really liked it.
Wow,
I really
awesome.
liked Jet.
That's really cool.
I really liked Mariner. Like the stakes were high. I thought it was a fun adventure. I liked seeing Riker I loved seeing Riker's crew. Man, I thought it was so good.
Excellent. PJ or Paul, who wants to go next?
PJ.
Oh God, ratings so stupid.
I know you can opt out of a rating, or you can just
okay,
give a silly rating.
I'll give I don't know, 6 out of 10.
6. We do it for posterity.
Once Lower Decks gets like a 5 or below for me, then I'm gonna get worried. But like 6 above, it's all good. I like Lower Decks. I'm confident it's gonna keep getting better this season, and I'm sure my ratings will go up. And if they don't, well, whatever. Nothing I can do about it.
Paul, take us out with your rating and any final thoughts.
Yeah, I'll give it a 9 too.
Woo!
I wasn't really disappointed, but I was pretty disappointed by last week's episode, and this felt to me like a proper season premiere. So I was like a little concerned that maybe Lower Decks was like lightning in the bottle, and only the first season would be as good as it was. But I thought this episode was on par with some of the better episodes from season 1. So
Very
9,
very cool. Yeah. That's excellent. So overall, it favors very high. I'd say we can average it out at probably a 9. PJ's 6 brings it. I was gonna say like a 9.5, but PJ's 6 brings us down to a 9.
I'm
back
sorry.
To a 9.
I'm
Just
sorry.
kidding. No peer pressure. We have Trek on the Tube in the audience. Thanks for coming in here in the ending. Toddy, give us your rating before we sign off. So evening
This
greetings.
is going to be
Braxton.
8.5, I bet you. 8.5, just watch.
8.5.
Oh,
I give
shit,
it
he
an
did.
8.
He
He
said
did.
8.
He's giving it an 8.
It's close.
I miss Braxton's voice. Hot damn, Braxton's even more extreme than Sohail. What is your Twitter handle, Braxton? So yeah, let's. That's funny, Braxton. How can people find you?
So you can find me on Twitter. Dude, what is my Twitter handle?
Leviathan.
026.
Yes.
Yeah.
I knew
Thank you.
it. It's okay. You blanked. It's fine.
Find me, Jill. Thank you.
Yeah, and Paul's on Twitter too, right, Paul? You're Paul Sutherland.
Yeah, that's me.
Do you have anything going on that you want to talk about or promote in your other endeavors?
No, I mean, like, Trek culture is pretty well stalled out. I mean, I got a ton of content for them that they haven't produced yet, but there will be a La Serena video eventually.
Ooh, okay, very cool. Oh, the La Serena now has to make an appearance. Whoosh, there we go.
Oh,
It's-
whoa.
yeah.
Oh, whoa. Dude, we hardly got a chance to see it.
Oh, I play with my ships all the time on the show. I'll make sure I'll send you some pictures. And what do you got going on, PJ, on Boat Wreck right now?
Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Another DS9 Season 1 commentary. This time it's Babel?
Babel, yeah, or it could be either.
It's Babel.
Babel,
There you
Babel.
And of course, my guest is who else? Starfleet Boy.
Yay! Tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm premiering a video on Starfleet Boy After Dark. We're gonna have our normal Starfleet Boy After Dark,
Ooh,
but
I'm getting hot already.
it's a steamy video. A friend Sean Farrick, who
Heard about this.
Yeah. He's got an OnlyFans, and actually there's a development that OnlyFans is changing their model a little bit, so we'll have some interesting conversations, I'm sure, in a follow-up discussion. But he started an OnlyFans, and you can check it out if you like. The video is going to talk about why he decided to do an OnlyFans, what kind of content he posts on it, and just like our general thoughts on sex work. So that is an adult conversation, so no younger folks, or plug in your headphones, because it'll be frank discussion about sex work on that episode. And then After that, you can check out Text Trek, which premieres at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Central Time, where they'll do a deep dive into Lower Decks. Fathery's back from STLV, so I'm sure he's got time to watch the episode 3 times like he does, collect all the screenshots, and so we'll do real deep but fun breakdown there. And then, of course, Starfleet Boy After Dark, where we just drink and have a lot of fun. There's a lot to talk about this week. I can't wait to talk about the Eternals trailer, among other things. Foundation's coming soon. So that show's just like a general sci-fi type of thing. And Trek on the Tube did drop on time on Tuesday, his video for Lower Decks, his review for episode 1. So maybe he'll do the same thing for episode 2 on next Tuesday. So you can tune in and check that out. And sorry, one last promotion. I will be on Trek Central next week on Wednesday, talking about this episode of Lower Decks. So check that
You're
out.
everywhere, man. You're just all over the place.
Where do you find the time?
I have a transporter twin that goes to work for me, and then I just do this. So there you go. Now you guys know my secret. Thanks for setting that one up, Paul. Everybody live long and prosper. Thank you, audience, for joining us as always. We really appreciate you in the comments. Live long and prosper, and we will see you next time.